damage to our DNA. So I don't want to be a doomsayer or a pessimist. I'm just a realist. I see real patients in the clinic on a consistent basis that have got serious health challenges. And these are two tools in the toolbox that we get to use to help activate people's healing potential. With that said, I'm going to go to the next slide. So when we have a pill or a powder or a supplement or a tablet, these things are not absorbed as well as they could be. Even the finest supplements on planet Earth are not going to be absorbed as well as you think they are. Do I stop taking supplements? No. Do I look for alternatives to help absorption? Absolutely. Do I take supplements that are very, what I call biodegradable, meaning that they actually break down in the system? How can you determine that, by the way? Very simple. Some of these multivitamins, for instance, have got a shellac around them that will survive a nuclear blast. Okay. They got a half-life, they got a shelf life of 10 years. Now, the thing is that the harder something is to break down, the less it actually gets into our cells. This causes an absorption issue. This is a problem. When I see x-rays on patients, I'll say, looks like you took your vitamins today. Oh, yeah, Dr. Marty, I took my vitamins today. I said, see it right there in that x-ray? That little pill right there? Is your pill about that big? Yeah, that's about that big right there. Well, there it is. It's not breaking down. Okay. So, and they look at me like, oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, really? Wow. That is not breaking down. And so you want to make sure that the pills you are taking are actually breaking down. How can you test this at home? Get a cup of water, put whatever you're taking into that glass. It should be dissolved within 10 minutes. If it's not, that is a problem. Something to think about. Now, there is another pathway that I want to introduce you to, and it's the sublingual. This sublingual is in your mouth. Now, if we can get something in your mouth, and if it dissolves in your mouth, it's going to bypass the GI system. It's going to go directly into your bloodstream. This is exciting. This means that it's going to go into a pure form, into your bloodstream, into your cells, versus being damaged by the stomach acid, breaking down some of these nutrients, which is important. Now, again, let me say this. This is a technology that's evolving. Eventually, and I'll say this right now, eventually all of our nutrition will be absorbed this way. The companies are adopting this technology that I'm going to talk about, truly have an advantage in the effectiveness of what you're taking. Very exciting. So if we can bypass the GI system and get directly in the bloodstream, way to go. We've done it. This is really one of the slides of the night. When you take a pill, less than 10% gets absorbed, period. When you do a intramuscular injection, not fun, about 80% gets absorbed. When you take this quantum strip, 90% plus gets absorbed. Exciting. This is revolutionary. This is literally cutting edge technology. This was developed in 2025. So now we're seeing results that are just phenomenal. These little boxes, these little strips are little miracles in a box. I love the different strips that this company has to offer energy. I love, it's not the only company, I'm not only the product company I recommend in my practice, but this is one of the tools, like I said, that I can help people help heal themselves. When you can help the body heal itself, it's an amazing thing. That's all we need. By the way, there's only really one disease, by the way. It's called lack of homeostasis. There's names, a lot of different things out there, and people sometimes get hung up on the disease. No, that is L, M, and N. We need to address A, B, and C. When we address A, B, and C, somehow it's like a little weak plant. You get this little droopy little plant. You give it some water, you give it some sun, you pull some weeds, you give it some time, you give it some food, and it gets perky again. That's called innate intelligence. That's called innate healing potential. That's what we need to get back to. That's what people are looking for. People want this because this helps our bodies help heal itself. That's the key. When you give the body what it needs, it's going to heal. But if you're lacking in something, and a lot of us are, vitamins, minerals, cofactors, essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, different things, circulation, dehydration, all these factors play on our health. This product, friends, absorbs very effectively into our bloodstream, very effectively into the cells where all products and all nutrition need to get to. Exciting. When we feel something, we know it's working. I feel better energy when I'm taking this. I feel more brain activity. I don't seem to have this cold or sinus problem that I'm having. What's interesting is that when we activate body energy, you feel it in different places. There's no one size fits all because we're all individual. We're all have different strengths and weaknesses, which is normal. We all have different nutritional requirements. So if we can be what I call broad spectrum, this is going to be a good benefit. And there's going to be different results for different people. I can sleep a little bit better. I'm not sneezing as much. I've got more energy. I don't need my coffee. I don't have this drop off in the afternoon. Why? Because you're healthier. That's why. This little film, this little strip, absorbs directly into our system. You just put it on your tongue and it dissolves. It's very simple. How small are we talking? So if we look at, say, the glucose molecule or a virus size, there's the red blood cells here. This is smaller than that. Much, much, much smaller than hair. Right above, somewhere between a virus and the water molecule is where this space is. So this is truly a nanotechnology. This is truly quantum nutrition. So we're talking about a very, very, very small place. Okay. Again, it's bypasses the GI system. It's very simple. This is not rocket science, but it kind of is rocket science. It truly is something that we've been needing in our society for a long time. A pound of carrots back in 1940 had 80,000 international units of vitamin A. Today, they got 5,000. What? Yeah, we better get better nutrition into our system, or this thing called chronic disease, aka type 3 diabetes, otherwise known as dementia, Alzheimer's, diabetes, all these chronic diseases, spike protein, all this stuff is wreaking havoc with our system. The best care you can have is self-care. I'm not talking about just long lifespan. I'm talking about health span. There's no reason that we can't get to 120. No, not one. Biblically, Genesis 6 says this. I believe that we will very effectively. Not just a frail 120, but a vibrant 120. But we need to do certain things. We talk about detoxification. We talk about clean up the air, clean up the water, minimizing microplastic exposure. There's a lot to this. The key is doing the very best you can and taking time to educate yourself. When you invest in yourself, it's a guaranteed return on investment. It really is. Whether you're working out and that adds another 1 hour workout, adds the 3 hours to your life, or whatever it is, you are educating yourself tonight about a technology that can help you heal, help you thwart off cancer. Yeah, I'll say that. You know what? Cancer is expensive. You know, the average cost for cancer is $409,000. Yeah. The best thing you can do for your wealth is to stay healthy. Okay. 85% of all bankruptcies are due to healthcare costs. You get some sort of disease, you go to the hospital, all of a sudden $2 million later, and the insurance didn't cover this and this and this. Said, man, it's just easier to hit the reset button. Don't go down that path. The best thing you can do for your family and for you is to stay healthy as you can. If you're having a health challenge, get healthy. Team up with somebody that knows how to get you healthy, not just to stamp out symptoms. Don't just do this. Get to the root cause of the problem. That's the key. I don't know why I drifted, but occasionally I'll do that. One of my favorite base nutrition products that I recommend for patients is a base nutrition for the planet Earth. Phytoplankton is a marine organism that's responsible for about 60, 70% of oxygen on Earth. There's more nutrition in this. This is good for every aspect of health because this directly impacts mitochondria activation. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cells. I love mitochondria. And you know what? There's more mitochondria in nerve tissue than in any other tissue in the body per square inch. Our nerve tissue is very mitochondria intensive, and 85% of neurology is in our head, in our brain. So when you have brain fog, when you have mental decline, cognition, forgetfulness, who's that person? I remember that person. I know who that is. Why can't I get their name? Where did I put the keys? Where did I park the car? All those things are little signs and symptoms that the system's not just firing the way it should. And we need more mitochondrial activation. This is one of the things that helps to do that. The marine phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is an amazing product because this is the actual base food of the food system of our planet Earth. The small fish eat the phytoplankton. The bigger fish eat the smaller fish, and it go on and it goes up from there. So you want to talk about literally ground level or seabed level, this is it. So if you want to fortify your health and your vitality, better be taking some phytoplankton. In our opinion, this is the best one on the market. Why? Because the absorption. Our absorption is better than anybody else. Now, there'll be people that mimic this, and there'll be people that come after this. But right now, this is the best phytoplankton in existence. It directly affects ATP production in the mitochondria. This is a representation of the mitochondria, the little powerhouse. When you affect this, it's got broad applications to everything. Everything is controlled by energy. As the power goes up, all tides rise and all boats rise. Cardiovascular, neurological, immunity, sexual function, brain cognition, kidney function, liver function, respiration, cellular performance, energy. Powerful, powerful, because it affects mitochondria. That's the whole premise behind this. When we pair this with another thing, and I'll transition into another product called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule. And when we can combine these two things in the system, they work synergistically. One horse pulls 7,000 pounds, two horses pull 35,000 pounds. There's something about nature, something about God's equation that 1 + 1 = 5. I'm not going to get preachy, but I will right now, because when Jesus sent out the disciples, he didn't say, you go there and you go that way. No, 2 by 2. Why? Because there's something powerful about synergy. It's a good analogy. When we have this and we add this to it, it's more than just two. And I'm going to get into nitric oxide. I love nitric oxide. Mayo Clinic says that every cardiovascular disease, and 80% of us will die from this. I won't be the one dying from this because I know about this. Why? Because personally, my grandfather, who I'm named after, Martin the Joyous, looks like me, same build, same face, same bald head, good looking head. He died at the age of 56. I'm 55. I'm 57 right now. Now, he had cardiovascular disease. Every cardiovascular disease is associated with loss of nitric oxide. This starts declining as we age. When we have this, there's a problem. Symptoms? No. Oftentimes, first symptom, last symptom. Nobody thinks that they're going to die of this. You don't think you're going to die of this. The 40 some odd people on this call right now don't think that they're going to die of this. But yes, statistically, 80% of us do. Is there something we can do today to affect our outcome? The answer is yes. And it's not a lack of medications, it's a lack of knowledge that people perish. This declines. This is something you could track. This is something you could do something about. This is something very powerful I'm talking about. And research is there. This is all scientifically validated what I'm talking about right here. So when you Google nitric oxide and loss, there's actually quite a few companies that sell nitric oxide product, not as good as ours. As we age, for men and women, both lose nitric oxide production. By the time you're 50, you're producing a fraction of nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a signaling molecule. It's produced in the inside lining of the arterial system. You've got about 60,000 miles of arteries, give or take, in your body. These arteries produce this nitric oxide that keep the suppleness of the artery. As that declines, the arteries tighten, they stiffen, and they tend to crack. What? Yes, they will crack, just like worn leather. Your body puts cholesterol, yay for cholesterol. Think about the cholesterol myth. We need cholesterol. Don't have cholesterol, you're going to die, by the way. Okay. As a little well right there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we're going to keep doing that to keep repairing the arterial tears that occur as we age. But if we can relax the arteries, they're not going to crack. They're not going to need repairing. Cholesterol naturally will go down. Liver makes cholesterol. Liver metabolizes cholesterol. We need it. We need it. Thank God we got it. By the way, that's the base molecule for all hormones. Who's going to live longer? Someone's got a 220 cholesterol or 120 cholesterol? 220. Oh, that's bad. Oh my goodness. 120 is probably better. You got a 120 cholesterol, there's a 6 times greater chance you're going to die than somebody that's got 220 cholesterol. So you can Google cholesterol myth and you can learn all about this. Very interesting. As we age, our nitric oxide production goes down. This is something we need to address. There's a very simple test strip for saliva. Don't drink anything for about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Get a little saliva, put it on the felt tip. If your felt tip does not look bright purple like this does, or if it's depleted like over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you might need to think about that. 80% of us die from cardiovascular disease. You are at risk, friend. Test yourself. You can find these online. We test people all the time in the clinic. And the reason why is because this is a significant finding. And you can, for less than $1. If you love people, test them. If you don't love them, still test them. The key is this. How are you going to help people? You're helping people. By even listening to this right now, you are increasing your knowledge base. And you can change people's lives. This is a beautiful thing. This is a gift of healing. The second greatest gift that you can give to someone is the gift of healing and the gift of circulation and not having a stroke. There's things worse off than death. Surviving a stroke. You want to talk about being a prisoner? You want to talk about being a real prisoner? Think about that. You can't scratch. You can't wipe yourself. You can't feed yourself. You can't communicate. Your brain's still functioning. You're there. You're a literal prisoner in your body. There's being incarcerated. That's one thing. Okay. This is not, this is torment. Okay. And so my point being is that yes, this is real and this is a real conversation and this is real life. And if you have a family history of cardiovascular disease, you got to know about this. You better do something about it. Because if you can prevent this from happening, which you can you do something about it? Yes, you can. You can test, not guess. Don't keep your head in the sand. I don't want to know. Oh, yeah, you do want to know. Okay. You want to know if this is low. The combination of these two products for circulation, for mitochondrial activation are powerful. I love this combination product together. The nitric oxide with the Phytomax are powerful. When you want to affect someone's core health, you can take these together. There is a depletion of nitric oxide production. There is a depletion of absorption with people's supplements. Unfortunately, the supplement companies are self-regulated. What's actually in the box does not necessarily match what is actually in the product. It's all done in the honor system. And unfortunately, there's a lot of unscrupulous activity going on. This company is scientifically validated. I've been asked to be a advisory board member on a lot of different companies. Okay. I've resigned that position. I've never been part of one until now because of the science behind this. I've been in practice now for 35 years and I love what I do. I really do. It's like solving jigsaw puzzles. And the D for doctor stands for detective. And I appreciate the ability to help people on the road to recovery. We offer these two products for $99 a month. This is a very small amount to have a health benefit with such impact. As I stated, when you invest in your health, it's a guaranteed return on investment. I want to say thank you for being with us tonight. This is a golden opportunity for you to advance your health awareness. I want to encourage you to get back to the person who invited you to this call. They invited you to this call for a reason, because they love you. And I appreciate you all for being here. And it's always fun. It's always a little different. And I look forward to seeing you again. Rob, I think we might have some questions.